What's up, Liverpool fans? We are back. We are Yanks in the Cop. We are here for the post-match reactions to the Liverpool Manchester United 0-0 draw. I'm your host, Steve, as always, joined by my brother Scans and our good mate Wahomie. And today we have a super special guest. Huge fan of his Twitter account. He's been a friend of ours for a little bit. We have Radak, but Radak, thanks for coming on, man. Great to have you.
No, thank you. I mean, I've been wanting to do this. I was supposed to do this in December with you guys, but we had our carpet room replaced, and bloody hell, there's so much noise. I thought I ain't gonna be doing this with you guys with all that noise, especially after the result. But yes, thanks for having me. I mean, I like talking about football. I like you guys. We've known each other for a while. It's nice I can just talk football, and I feel like you guys don't have that usual football Twitter agenda that everyone sort of has, so you can sort of talk, and if you disagree with each other, that's fine. You can sort of just say why you disagree with each other. But yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I really do appreciate it.
No, yeah, we appreciate you. Appreciate the kind words. And but you've got a lot to talk about, so let's get into our opening statements here. And I want to kick it off with this. I've seen a lot of Bobby slander going on. I know he had a couple chances today, and missed a couple passes that he should have seen, but what I really want to talk about is Mo Salah going up against Luke Shaw. I thought Luke Shaw completely pocketed him today. And again, I think the last, 3 or 4 games now with Mo Salah, he's been kind of a shadow of himself. I think, he hasn't been creating the chances, and he seems very easy to push off the ball. So that's my biggest thing. I thought Luke Shaw was probably the best player on United today. Probably one of the best players on the field, and I was really expecting more out of Mo Salah today, so pretty disappointing.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I'm just definitely disappointed by the draw. It was absolutely horrendous game to watch. I thought we started off well in the first half, but after that, it just kind of went downhill from there. For me, it seems ever since that Crystal Palace game, we've been incredibly poor going forward, and in particular, Trent Alexander-Arnold. I mean, this last string of games, maybe 4 or 5 games, he's been woeful on that right-hand side. Today, he had 10 crosses, 0 of which went to a Liverpool player. So he needs to pick it up. I don't know what's going on with him. Defensively, I think he's been playing decently well, but he's known for going forward, and we're not seeing that right now. So he needs to pick it up. Robertson was kind of the same today. He didn't really impress me too much, but that's the difference for me in this one, obviously, besides the front three.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is the front three that we've been having issues with, really. I think defensively we've been pretty good for the last few weeks. It's all we let the odd goal in, but with the makeshift back four we've been having to, use, it's sort of understandable we're conceding the odd goal. But it's just the other end, really. It's just we create these opportunities, and there's no cutting edge. They all seem to overhit the ball or underhit it. There's no sort of quality when they hit the ball. Yeah, that's the biggest disappointment for me is the front three. More or less on Firmino and Salah. I think Mane still is sort of giving us good performances, even though sometimes he loses that cutting edge. But yeah, disappointing again, really. I mean, a point is okay, but I wanted to win today against Man United, our biggest rivals, and it's just disappointing.
I think for me, Alisson saved us again. Like, he made 2 massive saves. He's done this quite a few games now. If it wasn't for Alisson, if we had Adrian in goal, we'd lose today. We concede. Simple as that. I think as well, I think what I noticed today again is the fact that our final ball is so poor. It's been poor for the last 4 or 5 games, where, like I said, we overhit the pass. When I hit the amount of times I lost count, we gave the ball away. At least 3 Man United's attacks came from Firmino giving the ball away in the first half, or from Fabinho passing to no one, or from Thiago replaying the ball. There's amount of times it's I don't understand how after. I know we had a 9-week break, but the time you're so sloppy in the ball, I don't understand it. Most of Man United's chances came from us giving the ball away. Not from them playing good, from giving the ball away. And I think as well, we are over dependent on the front three scoring. If they don't score, who else is going to score? And I think we lack a midfielder that's going to score goals. So United did a number. They knew we had to move Salah to the other side of the wing because Shaw had him pocketed. And Salah again was poor. I don't think he did enough, at all. I just think again, it's another. We haven't scored the last 3 games. It's another 2 points dropped. It's just not good enough. To be honest, Klopp can say what he wants. I love Klopp, but it's not good enough at the end of the day.
Yeah. Parth Jane in the chat said that it seems like he doesn't know how to cross. So disappointed. I'm assuming he's talking about Trent from my opening statement. What did you guys think of that? Would you agree?
Yeah, dude. I mean, that was one of the talking points I wanted to get to because, again, ever since Trent's come back from this injury, he has not been himself. I mean, even in the lead up show into this, we were talking about that right now, like in a combined 11 going into this game, like Wan-Bissaka would probably start over him just based off form right now because Trent's been that poor going forwards as well as not that solid defensively. So, yeah, I mean. I don't know how concerned I am long term. I mean, he's definitely in a funk, but the entire team is. I mean, like you said, the front three was poor too. So I'm not going to just single people out, but it is starting to get concerning. Like it's like 4, 5, 6 games in a row now with Trent that he's really not put in.
Yeah, Mahoney, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we can't really complain too much. I mean, our lineup today, we had all our creative players basically on the pitch. We had obviously Trent, Robertson, with Thiago, Shaqiri. We had the front three. You look on the bench, and there's no one really we could have brought on. Usually Shaqiri wouldn't start, and he would come on, and that would be like sort of our creative spark. But like you said, it's just we don't have anyone else who can score these goals. And you'd think with Trent's passing abilities, crossing ability, that maybe he could, maybe he could get the odd opportunity, but he doesn't. It just, I don't know. He doesn't seem to be getting forward as much, and when he does, the ball in the box is pretty poor. But yeah, I say, I mean, Robertson, I think defensively he's been more consistent. Trent, of course, I think he's pretty up for one of our players this season. I think Trent defensively he's been a little bit. I think he's been okay defensively. I think so. Just his offensive play has just been a bit dry. Really, it's just not the sort of Trent performance and output we know. So it is disappointing because we have such high hopes for him. And we know he has the patch of bad form sometimes, but usually comes out at one point. But he hasn't so far. So yeah,
it seems like him and Salah haven't really been linking up as much either.
Yeah.
On the left-hand side, you're always seeing Robertson and Mane link up. There's plenty of overlap play going on, but with Trent and Salah, it doesn't happen nearly as often. And I'm just wondering if there's a concern there.
I think there's probably two. I do think Trent's been asked to play differently with the defensive issues. There are certain games where he doesn't get much as forward as much as he used to because I think of the defensive issues. I do think as well it hurt him not having Henderson in midfield because Henderson allows him to cheat and allows Salah to cheat because he does two jobs really, Henderson, when he's playing in midfield. The other ones don't really do it as much as Henderson does. So he allows Salah to not have to do much defending and he allows Trent to have that protection. So I think you missed Henderson in midfield. But then I think as well, Trent he's not helped having the COVID in the summer and the injury and stuff. So he's just in a bad run of form, and it's like it is killing us because from a defensive standpoint, you're right. He has done well for defensively because I think the stats that say that he's still the best in the league for like one-on-one duels. He's not really beaten that much. But I think just on an attacking point, his crosses are shocking. They don't. I'm sick and tired of him doing this stupid short passes, corners as well. Why is he always doing that? These stupid short corners are pointless. So I think it's just we have no choice because we have to play him through this bad form because I just don't think as well that I don't think Nico's ready properly yet to play week in, week out. So we've got no choice. But it is a concern how poor he is.
Yeah. No, it definitely is. But Vidal kind of talked about it a little bit. Like we had a lot of our creative guys in the field today. What did you think of the starting lineup? Obviously, there was no Matip, so we had Henderson slot back in at center back, but then Shaqiri getting the start, especially in the center of the park. What were you guys' thoughts when you saw him getting the start today?
I think for me, I think we spoke about before about us doing a 4-3-1, and I thought, okay, that was the right idea. I'm not sure how much we played of that today, like really 4-3-2, 4-2-3-1, but I did agree with us starting that. But I just feel like I think Matip not being fit killed us, to be honest. I had a lot of positivity going into this game because of Matip being fit, but him not killed us because I thought like we need to hand in midfield. And I think you saw it in terms of we lacked his energy in midfield. And I think Henderson playing in midfield would allow Thiago to play a bit more forward. I think we lacked. That was an issue. I thought Shaqiri overall played well from an attacking point of view. I did think he tried in terms of trying to create stuff, but I just feel that obviously when you play Shaqiri in midfield, you have to understand that he's not going to do the tracking back. He doesn't like doing that. So there is going to be space for people because you're basically playing two midfielders and a guy who's just doing more attacking. So that's why I think a lot of times Man United had the counters and were able to break so much because of when we get quite out of possession, you have Shaqiri high up the pitch. You've got Thiago and Ginny running backwards to try and stop it. So I think that did kill us. And I thought, I think we got, I think there's a lot of issues. For us, obviously, we have our two best midfielders, I think Thiago in midfield in defence, and that kills us. But overall, I thought Shaqiri did play well, so I can't fault him for that. I just think the probably wasn't any other options really. We could have gone today.
Yeah, the lineup surprised me, to be honest with you. I wasn't expecting Klopp to play Shaqiri. I thought he was going to do the usual, bring him on. But when I saw the lineup, I was quite, we're going to be a little bit more unpredictable today. We're not going to be, sort of going down the flanks, pass the ball through the middle of the park, try and create some opportunities. Like you said, Thiago, I thought was, one of the contenders for man of the match. I think Shaqiri did do well today, but like you said, he's not a defensive player, and he hasn't really got the qualities to sort of be that sort of player. He's more or less, like you said, an attacking player. But like you said, when there's certain parts of the field that's just not clicking, it just doesn't click overall for us. I feel like when Trent and Robbo are clicking and they're sending them balls in the box, we're unstoppable. But when they're not clicking, we were trying to rely on someone in the middle of the park, and if they can't do it, then we rely on our front three. And I don't, like you said earlier, I don't think we have a goal scorer in our midfield area, and I don't think Klopp likes playing that way. And sometimes it hampers us, I feel like, because like you said, usually if one of our front three is not scoring, another one is, or vice versa. And that's why Jota was so nice to be in the squad, and obviously he's not in the squad at the moment, so it's a bit crap. But yeah, it's annoying really, because we could have, Jota's injury could have been prevented. He didn't need to play that game, and we could have had him today playing, and he could have been helpful. He could have injected a bit of energy or a bit of that finishing touch, what the other three haven't been doing the last few weeks. So, and that sort of puts a nail in the coffin is Origi coming on. That's just depressing in its own sort.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't too great really.
I didn't understand why
What was that?
Did Minu come on?
No, I think so.
I didn't understand why Minu couldn't come on.
Yep.
I'd rather him come on than Origi.
He scored a goal, then he got benched. He got put into the basement. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, why
Minu's a tidy player.
Origi hasn't been in since the 2018 Champions League final. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I thought this type of game would have been perfect for like Minamino. I feel like he's better in those tight spaces. I think him coming off the bench would have been good, but I completely agree on the Jota assessment. This game was craving for a shot of energy on the Liverpool side off the bench in the second half, and we didn't really get it. And especially, later on, the substitution of, James Milner and Origi definitely confused me a little bit. I loved the Jones move. I thought the Jones substitution was good and came at a good time. But again, this was the perfect example of us, needing a Jota type player coming off the bench, and with him playing that game against Midtjylland and getting injured, we really missed his influence in that last 30 minutes or so, I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the big thing out of this entire, lack of positive outcomes for us has been down to Jota. We played him in that game so meaninglessly, and ever since then we haven't looked ourselves. I think the front three are incredibly tired. You saw it today, Salah, Mane, and Firmino. None of them are taking on their opposing defenders. You didn't see Mane really going against Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the left-hand side. I mean, maybe once or twice. Salah, I don't think, tried to take on Shaw once, maybe once, but it wasn't more than that. They lack confidence. They look sloppy. I just think they're tired. They need rotation in there. I mean, maybe I would play Origi or Minamino in this Burnley game coming up, but like Chris Welch said in the chat, I mean, we can just expect the same thing from Burnley. They're going to line up with 11 guys behind the ball. They're going to try to frustrate us the entire game, which is probably what's going to happen. And we're going to be looking for a goal late on, and I don't know if it's going to come. So Klopp needs to figure it out.
Don't you feel that the difference, though, is that when Salah and Mane are picking up the ball, they're picking up the ball much deeper than before? Before, when we had Van Dijk and Gomez, we'd play high up the pitch, so they're able to suffocate teams. But I think they pick the ball up from much more deeper, so they have more to run with it. So it's not how I don't think we play. Although we're still doing a high line, I don't think we play as high as we did when Van Dijk and Gomez are there.
Yeah,
I don't think we're able to really press teams as we normally do, or suffocate them. So I think I think also also ties them out because they have to pick the ball up from deeper.
Yeah,
I see what you mean because
yeah.
I'm sorry. No, I was saying Salah usually is on the last man, waiting for that Van Dijk over the top ball, Robertson or Trent, and he's having to come in a lot deeper to receive the ball. And it sort of puts a spin on the way we play in general, and it sort of changes the way we play, and sort of that can sort of affect these results. We've been sort of getting an odd point there and there. It's just like you said, it's Mane has to come short. Everyone's having to come short because we're not playing such a high line anymore. We're playing a lot deeper. I wouldn't say too deep. We're deeper, but we're not as like a Burnley or whatnot. But I do think our play has changed, and I think it has affected some players on the pitch. And you can see it as well. You can see it on the pitch as well.
Would you guys agree with Baran and M in the chat who said Firmino lack of creativity and decision making has been awful? What's Origi got to do to get a run of games?
I disagree on the Origi part. I think swap Origi with Minamino, and I kind of agree on that part. But honestly, I don't think Firmino has been any worse than Salah has. Honestly, I thought take this game out, and I thought Firmino, he wasn't scoring his opportunities, but his movement and I thought his connecting with the other guys in the team was actually a lot better than it had been in the past. When he got that little bit of a rest, he seemed to be playing better since then. And then today, a little bit off the pace, a little bit, but no, with Firmino, he's not. He's, in my opinion, he's not the problem. I think what the problem is the person behind him. We don't really have that creative piece in the midfield to really that's when Firmino was at his best, when we had Coutinho right behind him for those quick little link ups, and we haven't really had that all season.
Yeah, I think again as well, Bobby's never been a goal scorer, never. So I think we have to accept that. But I think still at the same time, his decision making today was poor, but he wasn't the only one. I think the whole front three in terms of decision making was poor. They were sloppy. And I think then this 9-game break killed us. I think, again, a break killed us. I think if we had played Man United after the Villa game, 4 days later, I think there's 9 breaks. Whenever we have a 9 break, we're always not good. We're always with them. We never look effective. I think.
Yeah, but I feel like we've been playing this for the past month, homie. I know,
but I know, and it is frustrating. But I think that's also played a part. And I think, I don't know. I think it's I don't know what to question the players, because I do feel there is something going on with the players in terms of I don't know the story of Klopp having to do what they called it. They called it a special meeting or something the other day. I don't know if that was true. They had to do some kind of meeting with the players to talk about the season. But I don't think that really did anything, because I still feel like we came into this game with a lot of players saying they're up for this game, and some of them just didn't perform. But then just again didn't turn up, and I think it's a major concern, because I feel as you said, Burnley are going to do the exact same thing as we think they're going to do, and we've got some hard games coming up, so we need Jota back ASAP.
I just feel like we're not hungry. We lack that hunger up front, and we definitely missed that drive in the midfield from a Naby Keita. But Shaq was in there today. I thought he did a good job, and still the front three lacked creativity. I just think that they need a rest. We put in Minamino, put in Origi, put in anybody. I kind of agree with Baran there to try out Origi. Just switch it up, keep people hungry. Origi looked like he was hungry when he came on in the 85th minute.
He did.
He got us a corner kick late on. So, just things like that. We need to switch things up. And what's the definition of insanity? It's when you continue to do something over and over again with the same result. You got to switch it up, Klopp. You got to switch it up.
I will say that that 5 minutes of Divock Origi, that's the most energy I've seen him put on the pitch in the last year, 270 minutes combined, I think. Holy crap. I haven't seen him move that fast in ages.
Yeah, regarding Firmino, I mean, he's my favourite player in this Liverpool squad, and I think you're right. He's not the only one. It's not like he's a standout. He did some good things today, and I think that's where you sort of go. You can see his quality, but it's just like you said, it's like he's not a finisher of the ball. He just never has been for us. It's unless he gets a good couple of chances, he may put the ball in the back of the net. But I think Salah's the real concern for me because he's our goal scorer. And he's sort of, when he's on goal, he gets an opportunity. Just doesn't seem to be. There's no conviction for me. It just seems, and I mean, if you take the risk of taking Salah out, he is our top scorer. He is the goal scorer in our team, and then you replace him with a Minamino, or you replace Firmino with Minamino. It's just, I don't think Firmino's been as bad as some people suggest sometimes. I think even the last few weeks we've not been playing great. I actually think he's been one of our better players, and obviously today. I just think like the commenter said, his decision making today was terrible. It was really frustrating because the Robertson chance, he could have scored a goal there. It's just sometimes he takes too many touches with the ball. He does when he passes the ball. Sometimes he toe pokes in. There's no conviction on it, and ends up getting intercepted. So sometimes I think him being Brazilian, I know it might be stupid. I just think sometimes everything has to be flashy, but it doesn't. Just be simple, and simple can get you far in football. So. Yeah, it's frustrating with him, but who knows? Next game against Burnley, he might get the 90th minute winner. You don't know, but I want him to score more. Even though he's not a goal scorer, I want him to score more. But I don't think he will. You're never going to see him get 20 plus goals a season in the Premier League. It never is going to happen. He's not the sort of player.
Definitely.
But Byron here in the chat has a good point here. Since the Salah interview, seems like we've been slacking a little bit. Like, do you think? Do you think there's anything up with Salah's mentality right now in his headspace, like especially because of that injury and kind of some of his performances since then?
I think it's something up. I think Salah's gone. To be honest, just my personal opinion. Like, I do think he's gone this summer. I think he's using that interview as a captaincy thing as an excuse. But I just think, I think he's using the captaincy excuse to force his way out. And I think he's probably thinking like his market value is at its whole-time high, and he moves to Real Madrid, he'll earn loads of money. So I think Salah is playing for himself now. I read the other day him saying about how it's a team game. He doesn't play this if it's a team game, at times. So I don't really buy that. And I think all this stuff he was saying about how I love the city and how that, I think that's just sucking up to the fans so he doesn't leave and tarnish his reputation. So when he does leave, he can say, I love the fans. So I think that's it. It's right, yeah. But I do think Salah's a concern. I think like the problem is we have no option but to play him, to be honest, because
I agree.
He's a goal scorer. We can say play Minamino or Origi, but they're not going to score goals. And when they have a bad performance, everyone will be saying, why didn't Salah play? So we have no choice, but either we change the formation and go to a 4-3-1 and start playing Salah up top, as we did for a bit last season, or we have to look at something, because I just don't think like Salah being on the bench is going to do anything unless it's Jota coming on. You're changing for Jota. I don't think anything's going to change. You put.
Do we know when Jota's coming back?
I think end of January they said.
This month, right? That's what I thought.
We've not really heard much, really, have we?
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet on that front with him. But what did you guys think of the midfield, though? Because I actually thought the midfield, other than a couple of times when United got a couple of counterattacks, I thought the midfield actually played really well, obviously led by Thiago. But I thought Wijnaldum did a great job winning the ball back and being constant pressure. I thought they were... Yeah, I think this was the most that we've seen from them, in my opinion, in the last few games. And I think a lot of that had to do with Shaqiri being in there and being able to have somebody sitting a little bit higher up. But I was impressed. But again, it was just hard with United having so many people behind the ball.
I think Thiago tired as the game went on. His lack of match fitness caught up with him. Because I think he started off really brightly and stuff, and he was doing nice dribbles and stuff. But I think when he got to the 60, 70 minute mark, he was done, more or less. like that lack of match fitness. So he wasn't having a massive influence then. Towards the end of the game, he wasn't influencing the game as much as he was. So I think that tired, but I think overall midfield and attacking point did okay. I just feel like I think the issue was the forward line weren't really static. We're static. I think that killed us.
Yeah, no, I thought Thiago was the best player in the pitch. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. He was always finding those little pockets of space. He was, linking up with Shaqiri, I thought, pretty well. Even Genie, spraying the balls out wide. But it seemed like once we would spray the ball out wide, we wouldn't do anything with it. We would either go back to where we came from, or we'd go back to Fabinho. It was just so lackluster. But I think that Hendo, I agree. I think Hendo in the midfield was a big miss because Thiago does have the capability to take on defenders one-on-one. We saw him roll that ball right past Bruno Fernandes a few times. I think he had 5 of 5 or 5 of 6 or 6 of 6 dribbles completed. I mean, he was just getting by players with ease. And I thought he played well defensively for the most part as well. So I think if Hendo can get back to that midfield somehow with Matip healthy, then hopefully we can push Thiago forward and maybe that'll help the front three. I mean, I'm willing to try anything at this point. They just need to pick it up.
Yeah, I like the midfield today, but I feel like with Fabinho at centre back, even though he's another person arguably been our best player this season, you lose a lot from him being at centre back. In midfield, he makes my ideal front, my midfield three would be him, Thiago, Henderson, and I feel like. I mean, today we controlled the game. I feel like we had a lot of the ball. We did have a lot of the ball. I think Thiago was unreal today. I thought Shaq, like you said, did okay. Ginny, a lot of people were split with him. He's very people don't really like how simple he does things and how he retains the ball. I think he's an effective player for what we want to do, but sometimes it is frustrating. He doesn't get them. There's some opportunities where, he should play the ball forward and he doesn't. He goes backwards and you sort of think...
Yeah, he doesn't take risks.
Yeah, I think he's told to. And I think he's told to not take risks. I think he's that sort of player that Klopp wants in the team, especially when we have the likes of Trent and Robertson, but, going up there, playing as wingers, basically, sometimes. And then, you think if Trent and Robbo are up there and you've got Thiago pushing up and Shaq... then you sort of need that someone who's got that, sensible mindset. They're not going to do something stupid. But you look at Holland. You look at him at Holland. He's scoring goals every week for him. He's playing a more like attacking position. He's driving forward. He's making passes forward. For us, he doesn't do that. And I think people need to accept what his role is in this team. It's not to score or create opportunities. But I would like him to do it more often. Even he's playing in a midfield in a team that he should be able to express himself. There's a time he wants to shoot or pass a ball or just do it, just go for it. End of the day, I know you've got your instructions from the manager, but you sometimes just got to try different things. And I feel like with him, he doesn't do that, and that's the frustrating thing with him. But yeah, I think the midfield today was good. I think we dominated the middle of the park. I think Thiago was just in a class of his own. Passing, even for a small guy, his tackling abilities is outstanding, and he doesn't rush for the ball. It's his timing of tackling. He did it on Pogba a few times a day. He knows Pogba is 6'3", bigger than him, and he knows he's not going to win them headers. But he takes positions where he sort of reads the ball just perfectly, and he just intercepts the ball, and he's fantastic to watch. But yeah, I don't think the midfield was much as a problem today. Like I said, we did have some good opportunities. We should have scored. I think the midfield was fine, really. I think we can't really complain too much.
What do you think about the defense?
I think the defense was great again. I think Fabinho for me has just been different. I know I've said it a million times already, but he's just outstanding today. For a guy that has having to fill in that position, for me, it's him or Robbo has been our best players this season so far. But yeah, I think defensively we were okay. I think we were solid. I don't think we were terrible. We we dealt with their threat. I mean, Alisson again, fantastic. He just deals with everything really well. People complain that everything goes at him, but he's always in the right position. He's not, when he spills the ball, he's pushing it in the right areas. He's not sort of pushing into areas where they can pounce onto it. So defense for me today was great. Like I said, it's the attacking part of our game at the moment that's causing the problems. If you don't score goals, you're not going to win games. So you can keep these clean sheets, but don't score, you're not going to win games. You can get you know what I mean? That's it, really.
Exactly. No, because like if you told me going into this game that Pogba was going to lose the ball 16 times in the first half, and Fernandez was going to put out an absolute stinker and have no effect on the game at all, like you would think that Liverpool was going to come out with 3 points, no problem. It was really frustrating for me because like Vidak kind of mentioned it, like we got to take some risks at some point. And every single time that we had the ball on top of the box, that outside lane for Trent or Robertson just to run in, that pass was on every single time. And we gave it to him a couple times early on, and then we completely just got away from it. And it just seemed like Robertson and Trent were just like, well, like, screw it. I'm not going to keep making that run if I'm not going to get the ball. But it was on all day. And, like, I know the box was crowded, but you keep hitting that pass, and, all of a sudden – Shaw's going to have to take a few more steps outside naturally just to block that pass, and it opens up a little bit more space in the middle. So that was just driving me crazy today because that pass was constantly there for those guys.
Yeah, I thought Fabinho was absolutely fantastic today. Either him or Thiago for me were man of the match. That block he had on Marcus Rashford, I think it was on the left side. He came out of nowhere, and that was probably going in the net. It was a point-blank shot. Maybe Alisson saves it, maybe he doesn't, but his just defensive awareness is absolutely phenomenal. He's a midfielder, and I usually don't trust midfielders playing center back just because they lack that defensive instinct. But he has it in spades, and we're very lucky that he's on our team. We really are.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't think our issues from defense. I think even they said in the game, like, since Van Dijk's been out, from a defensive point, we haven't been that bad. Like, when you think about overall, it's just the attack. But I think, again, Fabinho's been class again in another game. I think Henderson, did well at centre-back. I did think from a defensive standpoint, Robbo and Trent were good from defensively. I think, obviously, Alisson, again, saved us. Those 2 big saves. He's doing it, thank God we have him. Otherwise, I don't know where we'd be without him. But I think the one downside, obviously, with defense, from an attacking point of view, I think it's the fact that none of our defenders, whichever one we're playing now, with Van Dijk and Gomez out, can hit long balls. There's long diagonal switch of plays or long balls. And I think that kills us. Because I think I saw a video the other day where they were showing Van Dijk passing, and how when teams press us, even the small teams, Van Dijk's ball wide or to the flanks just opens up the whole pitch, opens up the whole game, and it puts us in an attacking point, and it allows us to get the ball, get further down the pitch. We missed that because Fabinho can't do it, or rarely does it. Henderson really can't do it. Matip can't really do it that much either. I think that kills us from an attacking point of view as well. So, but overall, you can't really fault the defense. They weren't really at fault today. Today was the attackers.
Yeah, we even missed Van Dijk from corners ourselves. His presence in the other end of the box. He scored 9 goals for us. I can't remember what season it was, but his presence from the box is phenomenal, and you do miss that. And I think we have been missing that a lot. When we send a corner in, I mean, who do we hit? I think the short corners really frustrated me today because I'd rather us just get the ball in the box near the goal. When you take a corner, anything can happen. It can ricochet off someone. Anything can happen. A short corner just doesn't work. I hate it with a passion.
It's all the way back to the midfield line. What's the point of that?
Yeah, get the ball near the goal. It's as simple as that. Get it near the goal and see what happens. We haven't got tall players in there, but it doesn't matter. Anything can happen in the box. Firmino won against Tottenham. He won that header, and he's not the tallest of people. He's good in the air, but I think he bought Alderweireld for a header. You just don't know what can happen. Right. So, need to stop these short corners because I hate it. It's horrible.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Magical Mo brings up a good point here. Like, the thing of the clock, we have to change our tactics. Crossing inside the box isn't working anymore. And I think that's kind of the thing, is that we've been very predictable over this year. And the point is like, that needs to be part of our game. It's not supposed to be all of our game. And, Thiago is supposed to be part of that solution. But again, like Homie talks about it all the time. Like we're just missing that dynamic midfielder, like, our version of Bruno Fernandes, I guess you could say. Like, we talk about Aurier all the time. Like he'd be a great fit for us in that type of a role. And I think that's really the biggest thing. Like we have to keep playing from the outside because that's our strength right now. And we don't really have the personnel to play through the middle quite yet. And Thiago solves some of the problem, but he's not completely there. A guy like Naby Keita, for example, we would have been able to play through the middle all day if he was available today. But no, we know his injury history.
Yeah, I think as well, obviously we have to understand that with Thiago, it's going to take him a while to get top level because of that, how long he's been out. He played well today, but I think he played much more better. Like, he's not anywhere near his top level. Yeah. So, but also again, he can't do it on his own. Like, there's only so much Thiago can do. If the fullbacks and the forwards are not doing great going forward, then there's only so much that he can do. I think that's a good stat from Paul Jane.
Yeah. That's crazy about Van Dijk. Yeah. I mean, it's instrumental. Like, people like to joke about those long balls, but like the thing is like they don't even have to work all the time. Like we saw early on in the game today when the United center backs got the ball outside of the center of the field, if they were on the end line, we pressured hard and we were pressing them very, very high up the field, and they didn't like that. They turned the ball over quite a few times in the beginning. And I think just putting them on the back foot like that, that's one of our strengths, is off the ball with that pressure. So I think even if it doesn't work out, again, they're on the back foot, we quick turn around and then we're in their zone. So I think he is that ball over the top is massive for us.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just getting frustrating. I mean, that's three games in a row now in the Premier League with no goals scored. Like,
I think the drop in the points is a concern, but I think, like you said, not scoring is a bigger concern, because I think eventually we won't be like this the rest of the season. But it's at the moment we need them points, because this season, like some Man United, I mean, their record against top teams is really poor so far. The same with Chelsea. I think our record against top teams this season has been pretty good. But you need to win against the worst. I mean, there's more average. There's not really any average teams in the Premier League anymore, but there are less teams. You need to, the other 15 teams you need to win against, because there's more 15 teams than the 5. You know what I mean? So there's, sorry, I'm speaking over shit, aren't I? But it's frustrating because we need to win them games against the smaller teams. But we're not doing that.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a proper title race now. I mean, we can't forget that we still have Champions League around the corner. Europa is going to be for United, so they're going to be playing on Thursday nights, and then they're going to have to come back and play on a Saturday or Sunday. So I think it's wide open still. I don't think United's going to run away with it. I mean, City's really the only one that I'm really worried about. They could maybe go on a 5-game winning streak or something like that, but we just need to start picking it up. We need to get some goals. No goals in the past 3 games is very concerning. I don't think that's happened. I think Melissa Reddy tweeted that hasn't happened since 2005. So that's a pretty long time. It definitely hasn't happened under the Klopp era. So that's my big concern. I mean, we can talk about the defense. We can talk about Van Dijk. But Jota needs to come back, and we need to rest up the front 3 and get them clicking as soon as possible.
I think there's 2 things there. I think we need to get centre back this January. If Milito's a possibility for loan, get him in, because we can't be going to games having to play Hendo centre back. We know Matip can't. Matip's not going to stay fit for the rest of the season. No way. Like, so he will break down again if he plays again.
Yep.
And we can't return into Phillips and Williams.
Yeah, Milito's wages are £100 a week or something like that. Maybe even less.
It's affordable.
It's affordable.
Doesn't it seem just like the perfect type of move that we'd be looking for? Like loan with maybe an option to buy in the summer, but
he plays with Fabinho and Alisson.
I mean, and think about it though. Like, and then he can play center back, he can play outside back, he can play defensive center mid. Like he has that flexibility as well. Like Vidal, what's your opinion on that? And do you think we have to make any moves in the window?
I mean, I agree with what Holmes saying. Henderson today did well, but eventually he's not going to do well, and I feel like that will be more games It will do okay there, but like Southampton game, I think he did okay, but it's just we do need a centre back. We're playing two midfielders at centre back. We need a centre back. As simple as that, really. Militao would be perfect. He's the perfect sort of player to fit into our team the way we play. I agree. I think we can win the league with the way we're doing it, but it's going to be a struggle. It's not going to be consistent. I don't think any team's going to be that consistent this year. So I think the Van Dijk, and even though it's horrible to say, I think the Van Dijk injuries probably come in. If we're going to challenge for a title without Van Dijk, it was this season. Because if we did have Van Dijk, I feel like that would have been the difference totally. We would be head and shoulders. Like last year, we won the league by 18 points. I think that's the difference. Yeah, you don't have Van Dijk in our team last year. I think we win the league still, but I don't think we win it by 18 points. I think we probably win it just by a few points. I feel like he is that key for any title winning side to be consistent. I feel like if he's in our squad, we can win these titles back to back. But I think we still can do it. But like we're relying on Nat Phillips, who's he's 20. How old is he? He's not experienced at all. 23, not experienced at all. He's not a Premier League level defender, even though he's had a few good performances. Rice Williams, even though I think he's shown some very good glimpses, he's also a bit with his age as well. He's not fully developed. He's gonna cost us some points. I think that's just that's just gonna be natural. We don't have a lot of options, and like you said, when you've got two midfielders playing centre back, what would you expect? It's ridiculous, really.
Yeah,
I think we do need a centre back.
That's what it is for me. I mean, if you look at City and what happened with them last year, they had that big injury to Laporte. He was out all year, and then they had to put Fernandinho as a center back, and it just mixes things up in the wrong way. Last season they missed Fernandinho in that midfield, and right now we're missing Henderson and Fabinho in our midfield. So it just changes things up, and like what Homie said earlier, their distribution from deep is not nearly as effective as Van Dijk's, and it's just a huge miss. So I think these injuries are starting to catch up to us now in January. Hopefully, now that players are coming back, we'll start to see some form come through. But like I said, 3 games with no goals is very concerning.
But then obviously we're not going to have Jota until probably maybe after Tottenham game. Maybe he might make Tottenham, he might not. So that's at least, say, 2 games. He's going to score the goals then. Because Burnley, it's not going to be an easy game. So he's going to really score the goals. I was going to ask you, I'll ask a question anyhow. At what point do you guys say we focus on the Champions League?
I'm not there yet. I mean, it's still too early. There's still way too many big games to be had. I mean, we obviously still play City and United again. Like, we play all the top teams again. So there's plenty of opportunities for them to drop points. We never know what's going to happen with injuries. That being said, like, I'm definitely, next Champions League game, I'm focusing on that. I'm putting the best team forward that we can possibly do. Don't care about rest. Don't care about the other games. Like, I'm throwing everything at it. Like, I'm trying to win that for sure. Because, like, again, there's no guarantees with the Prem this year.
Yeah, I think we actually might do better in the Champions League. I don't think Leipzig will line up with 11 behind the ball. I mean, maybe they will. Maybe they'll be watching all these games and they'll realize that that's how you beat Liverpool. You just line up the 11 behind the ball, you do a low block, and you just try to counter all game. But I don't see Leipzig doing that. So I think that they would play more into our hands. They're dangerous going forward, but I think that if it's an open game like that we would punish them, I would hope.
Yeah, I mean, the Champions League is our forte, really. I mean, if we've got, Alisson in there, I'm pretty confident that we can go far. Because with like you just said, Leipzig, they don't play in the Premier League. They're playing the Bundesliga. They're not the sort of team that know that they're going to come and attack us just like Man City would. Because that's the only way they probably can win a game. They're not going to sit back. They probably don't have the players for it. So it's an advantage to us, a massive advantage that we're playing a team in a different league, because they're not a Burnley where they're going to sit there and they know that our weakness is obviously, of course, they're going to be looking at our weaknesses, but they're not going to sit back and hope for and they're going to counter attack. It's not the team they are, the team they've been for the last few years. But yeah, pretty much still focusing on Champions League and the Premier League. I'm not sort of got to the point where it's like, maybe we should focus on one more than the other. But like you said, we can't be too quick to judge our Premier League so far. I mean, anything can happen. It's too inconsistent at the moment. When we won against Spurs, I saw a lot of people going, "Oh, yeah, we're going to win the league." And I was like, "How? That's not." I know. After a game, everyone's a bit. Either emotions are really high, or emotions are really low. But it's not a season like that this year. You drop points against Man City or Tottenham or Man United. It doesn't mean you're not going to win the league. Of course, more points you get, you win. The more points you have, obviously, of course, you'll win the league. But it's not like last season or the season before. I mean, especially the season before, where we could not drop points, and obviously, unfortunately, we was only a couple of points off winning it. But this season, it can be anyone's. It could be Leicester's. Who knows? I mean, they're up there with us, but can they be consistent enough to stay with us? I mean, we've not even been that consistent, but we're still up there. So we've just got to wait and see. That's all we can do.
I don't know. I'm worried about City. They're winning 1-0 against Palace already. They got like really easy games for the rest of January. Until they play us on the 1st of February, the 3rd of February, their games are easy winnable, and the games you're expecting to win all of them.
Yeah, but even against Brighton last game for them, they weren't that convincing for me. Yeah, they won 1-0, but I still think that Brighton had a couple of chances where they could have tied it up. They probably should have tied it up. I'm not convinced by City yet.
I'm not convinced 100%, but I think they've got enough in the locker. They're scoring goals, which we aren't doing, to get the line, get the win over the line. We're not doing that, and I think City will find goals in those games, even if they're not playing that well.
Well, Scans and Radak brought up a good point about teams, like sitting back against us, and Leipzig's going to, play more open. I know when we had Tom on the pre-match, the Man United fan, he was telling us how, Ole against the Big Six typically, sits back a little bit and tries to play more of a counter-attacking game. But other than Mourinho coach top six sides, this is really like the first time I've really seen a top six team like really sit in on us like that. Are you guys like getting concerned at all? Like even now, like top teams like don't want to play us open because they know like that's our strength, and if they can just sit back, like they have like a team like City, maybe they like to play us a little bit open, but still like I'm seeing a trend now. Even the top teams are sitting back on us.
I think it's a 50-50 because if Firmino scores, it's a different game. Like we had enough chances today to win the game. Simple as that. Even though United sat back, we had at least 2 or 3 good chances where we should have scored. Mm-hmm. So, and I think if we take those chances, it's a different complex of the game. So it's not as if it's not like I think it was like West Brom where we created nothing really of note. We struggled to create anything of note, have any clear-cut chances. Today we had clear-cut chances, so I think like I don't think the other top teams have the ability to do that in the first place. Like City never play that way against us. Chelsea don't have the place to do it. Spurs tried it, but we still create chances against Spurs because their defense isn't that great, and they buckle under pressure. Leicester can't do it. I don't think Leicester are good enough to do it. They've tried it enough times. They tried it against Anfield. We tried to sit back against us, and we crushed them. Same rules. So I don't think it's going to be an issue. I think the issue is going to be with the bottom half teams. They're the teams that want to just going to happy just to play for a draw and see it as 3 points. They're the issue, not the top teams. Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that overall. I mean, I'm just going to go to the chat real quick. Magical Mo saying that now we're fighting for the top 4, not the title. I actually disagree with that. I think that we're still fighting for the title. I'm not worried about anybody else in the top 4 besides City. City, the only ones I'm worried about. I'm still not convinced from them that they're going to go on and win the title right now. But I'm not worried about Leicester. I'm not really worried about Southampton. Chelsea, I think, is crap. United, I think, is going to drop points to the big teams. It's just Spurs are going to spur. That's just what's going to happen. So I think it's going to come down to Klopp and Guardiola. And I just think that I'm going to say it again, the front 3 just needs to find form. Luckily, that's the only issue is that they're just not in form right now. Hopefully when they get in form, maybe it takes a big game against Burnley or Champions, whatever the hell it is. It needs to happen as soon as possible. Because
to be fair, I didn't even think about top 4. It's usually something we just know we're going to get. And like I agree with you, I think everyone's so inconsistent at the moment. Everyone's dropping points. There's a team maybe will go on a two win streak and then drop points again. We might do that. So it's hard to tell at the moment. It's just there's no noticeable gap separating these teams. So yeah, I have no idea.
I think that game against City is going to be, if we can find some form and beat Burnley and Spurs, that game against City is huge because if we beat City, it's 1 point between us.
Yeah. Is that a home game for us?
Yeah, home. Yeah. So that game is going to be huge in terms of if we can beat Spurs and Burnley. That's it. That's what it comes down to. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, I'm like when I think about us against the top six, we always play pretty well. Like you said, it's the games against the teams below us, and the biggest issue for me is you think back to the season when we lost one game and we still didn't win the title. We still didn't win the title. Man City won the title. Like we had way too many draws that season, and again this season we just have way too many draws. Like obviously it's better than losing, and we'll take the point, but you can't keep losing those 2 points, and drawing these mid-table, bottom table teams. So that's what I have circled for the second half is, go out and get 3 points against those bottom teams.
If Everton win the game in hand, they go ahead of us.
Yeah.
Those are things to keep to yourself, man.
My evening's just got a lot worse.
I just looked and I thought, oh my God, like they can go ahead of us. But then whenever we edit it from them, they'll be like, oh, they're better than us again.
Yeah, don't want that. But let's close it out with our man of the match here. So, who would you guys have for your man of the match?
I'm gonna go with I want to give it to Thiago, but I'm gonna go with Fabinho. I think he was phenomenal back there. Just a center back or a center defensive mid playing center back. He's just been phenomenal all season. And there was many different opportunities that Man United had, and he just stopped him right away. So he was my man of the match.
I'm gonna go for Alisson. I think that he saved us quite. Although they were offsides, his reading of the game is second to none. In the amount of times he came off the line and cleared the balls, and I think those 2 saves Man United had in the second half were huge. If that's aiding those in the back of the net, Kelleher potentially might go in the back of the net. I think that's the difference from a world-class keeper. So I think, again, we're indebted to have Alisson with how good he is.
For me, it's quite hard because I think Alisson, Fabinho, Thiago all had similar performances in the way they affected the game. But for me, probably Fabinho, because I feel like there was moments in the game, like Alisson, there was moments in the game where he probably kept them from scoring. Some of the interceptions he was doing. He was even covering for Trent a few times and Henderson, even though, Henderson's not his natural position. Fabinho was there, and I feel like Henderson, one of the reasons why Henderson did well today was because of Fabinho. I feel like Fabinho probably ushered him really well. But yeah, for me, it's got to be Fabinho. I feel like he was class again today.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was Fabinho, but I also gotta say I do think that Luke Shaw is probably the best player. I thought he was probably the man of the match for the entire game when you think about it that way. But Liverpool perspective, Fabinho for sure for me. So frustrating draw for sure. We're still sitting in third place with City getting a win today. We'll go drop into the fourth place. So should be a very interesting rest of the season. But Dog, thanks for joining us, man. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me, man.
You gotta come back
again. That was great. But everyone who tuned in, we really appreciate you guys. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. But we'll be back soon for our pre-match coming up. But otherwise, up the Reds, and we'll see you next time, everybody.
Right, stay safe, everyone. Thank you for that.